To you live with an important message that was put on my heart today. This is just coming in heavy for me. Super, 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 super heavy for me. And so, y'all saw the title. I'm not gonna wait for anybody to jump on live. I'm gonna leave this message and be out because I got stuff to do. All right. But I'm in my season of coming out of my trials of Job. So if y'all believe in anything and anything at all, the trials of Job are real. That story is real, and it's a prophetic warning and a lesson to those who actually come here and do what they call to do. You're going to be challenged in the process to believe, spiritually speaking. You're going to be challenged. You're not going to be given a bunch of power and a bunch of abundance without the challenge. You're not going to be called up high to do high things without the challenge. So, a little bit about me. I am Coach Shanitra Smith. Um, and disclaimer, we're going to say this up front on my video, on my channel. Don't come for me unless I send for you. I'm heavily protected in the spiritual realm. You don't know who you put your mouth on, so watch it. Watch it. And anybody got anything to say to, about, for me, don't speak on my behalf, and don't make any videos speaking about me. You can email me and we'll go live together and we'll have this public conversation. I will stand on every bit of business that I put out here on the internet 10 toes down. Okay. That's how I roll. I don't care how large your congregation is, sir. We can get on here and do this. All right. Respectfully. All right. And we can talk through our differences and I'll still be the same at the end of it. And so, and it's going to be a man that pops up with a problem. It's always a man that's always mad at me on the internet. I don't know why. Anywho, so I'm an ex-Christian. So I was raised, pretty much in the church. My father's father was a pastor, so that side of the family, my aunts, everybody went to church. I was always a kid who was drawn and led to church. Like I just really feel connected, um, to people's energy, and people congregated at church at a different level than they congregated at the house parties that I grew up on, right? And so hi. And so I'm gonna get this message out. Let me make sure I can see all my messages, and then I'll get to y'all in the comments. But chime in the comments if you can relate to this. But yeah, my grandfather was a pastor. I went to church with my aunties on that side. You couldn't say that you were not a Christian. It was a few things you couldn't say in that family. You're not nursing your child. That's a sin. You're not going to church. You're not this, or you don't believe in whatever. And so for years, I always felt connected spiritually. Like I could always see things, I always felt things, and I couldn't explain it. And I never said anything to anybody. I felt very alone in my gifts that I had. And I didn't know that that was not normal for most people. Most people didn't see, hear, feel, or experience life the way I was experiencing life. I had a heightened level of awareness. I was extremely sensitive to everything that was going on, especially like when we had like the what is that, the Gulf War down in Mexico. I felt like I was a child. I was like probably like 8 years old or something, but I could feel the energy, like the chaos. I was a nervous wreck singing spiritual hymns and everything when I was little. Like I felt the energy, like I felt the lives, and no, to later find out I'm a death doula. People pass over to the afterlife, they come by and see me, right? Um I help usher souls across. So I'm typically there at a lot of deaths in my family and births. Okay. So, or I'll see them the moment they pass, and then the announcement will be made the next morning. That's typically how it works as a death doula. So people, and thank you, Cowboy. So people, that's something I kept to myself for years because I realized nobody in my family talked about the stuff that I saw. I felt like it was only me. I had one aunt I used to call for dreams. Of course, on my dad's side, my oldest aunt on my dad's side, you know, because that was the side of the family in the church. And so I would call her about my dreams. And all through my 20s, I just kept having dreams. It got to the point where I had to call somebody. So I was constantly calling her, like, why am I having this dream? Why am I having this dream? Why am I having that dream? Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? One day I had a dream, and then I realized, don't call her. You know what this means. And I was like, do I? What does this mean? And so that was the day I realized, oh, it's you. Not fully, because it took until I was in my 20s then. It took until I was 38. And I had moved to Dallas and had my spiritual awakening to where, deeper into my spiritual awakening, the trials of Job. Go check out my video on that. And even about just becoming homeless in Dallas, just like being forced out, the trials of Job, really getting stripped. I got stripped. Like, I was never sleeping in no car or nothing like that. I always stayed with somebody, but that was weird for me. I was always holding my own. I always had money. I always had this. And so getting into that, it was real. Like, you read these stories. I knew, I guess, you know, it had to be that I was raised in the church. I had that experience. I could understand Christianity. And I heard all the stories in the Bible that way. Because otherwise, I probably wouldn't have heard of them. I probably wouldn't have read them on my own, right? And so I knew about the trials of Job. I knew about Esther and Ruth and Naomi and Hannah and all the, you know, Abraham and Moses and Joseph, right? I knew about all these stories. And so I didn't know one day I would be living them. I didn't know these stories were prophetic warning for the actual children of God on earth. I thought those were those people's lives, and that's what happened to them. And it's like, oh wow, that's unfortunate. I'm glad he got everything back. Too bad he lost his family in the process, or he lost this, or you know. But no, these were. This is if you decide that you are going to answer the call on your life this lifetime, this is what you're going to go through. This is how you get through it. If you're put in a position where you're shown favor and people don't know who you are, know when to be quiet and know when to speak up. Get in there and be quiet, and then when it's time, speak up, Esther, okay? You're not given to whom much is given, much is expected. So I didn't realize I knew at a young age I was probably going to be called out to like preaching or something. I thought I was going to be in a church. I didn't know it was going to be like this. And this ain't even it. I'm about to get out here into my calling. So it's happening. It's about to happen. It ain't happened through me making these videos. Trust me. It is not. This is not what it looks like. So there's so much God has shown me. Oh my gosh, there's so much I have seen in here that you all will see, right? So the reason why I'm an ex-Christian is because one day I had my spiritual awakening and realized that I no longer resonated with it. I kept going to church, and I was going to a mega church. You know, I've always stayed in church. I used to be in the church choir. I served in the children's room, kindergarten, first grade. Not to say that this is a fault of the church, but you could serve in these ministries at these mega churches for years, for 6 years, 7 years, get baptized there. Pastor don't even know who you are. Walk past you in the hallway, don't speak. You know what I'm saying? They happen at several churches. I won't put them on blast. And even down in Texas. And so I was sitting there one day in service at this mega church with several locations. He just got real dark real quick. And all these crystals and then this and then that. And then I was like, oh, the devil coming up out of you today. We seeing a different side of you today. I said, so this is the same pastor I just went to have dinner with. It was a group of us. But if he would have known at that table that I have crystals at home, right? These God-made crystals that were here on the earth, right? If he would have known that I had these crystals and things that he called demonic, I wonder if I would have been allowed to come to his church. I wonder if I would have been allowed to come to that dinner. And I wonder if he would treat me differently. Like, I wonder, like, am I only accepted because I'm not seen for who I truly am and what I truly believe and what I do? And so, So I guess the only crystals that are allowed at church are rubies and emeralds and diamonds in the form of jewelry, huh? Other stones aren't welcome in church. And so I was like, wow, okay. This is what we're doing. Only some of the rocks from this planet are welcome in this religion. And so y'all, it just got to the point where I felt so convicted and conflicted. Like, I kept going to church and God just kept opening my eyes up to the pastor. Look at this, listen to this. Only key things would stand out to me to the point where that don't feel right, that don't sound right, that don't feel like love, that don't sound like God, that don't feel like love, and that don't sound like God. I was sitting in church, not feeling love from the man on stage, the pastor on stage, not hearing God through this man. I was like, I was so in tune with the fact that this ain't it. And I just kept going because who leaves the church? Oh my gosh, what kind of devil or heathen are you to leave a church, right? And so what you gonna do without Jesus, baby? What you gonna do without Jesus? I guess I'm gonna be him. I could read real good. I guess I'm gonna be him. Right? They don't want you to know that. That is the part. And so we ain't getting into conspiracy theories behind religion, but we're gonna talk about what I was feeling that made me leave the church today, right? And so my eyes were opened up, y'all. That's all that really happened. Over time, in 2018, I cried out to God and I said, God, my higher self, however you want to place it. I cried out to the spiritual realm and I said, this ain't my life. I was in my bedroom in Maryland Heights, Missouri, single woman, divorced for 5 years, 2 sons, right? Corporate career, college degree, active social life, dating, never found love in my life. I'm divorced, but never found love, right? And so I was just checking off lists, checking off a box, getting married, buy a house, get a degree, get the job, do all the things, right? And so here I am, like, dang, my life feels so empty. But not only that, I was frustrated with every relationship I had in my life. Like, this ain't it. I felt like God could hear me that day in a different kind of way. And this was like June 2018, baby. Because if you go back to Facebook and look at the first motivational minute I ever made, I had on a pink shirt. It was in 2018, around end of May, June. And 2 years later, I was moving to Dallas. 1 year later, I got word that I was going to have to move to Texas. God spoke to me and said, "You going to Texas, right?" Kept looking for signs, kept looking for signs. A whole time I'm going through my spiritual awakening, I said, God, I know this ain't my life. I know I should be married by now. I kept feeling the energy. It's like he's close. He's close. I didn't know everybody didn't feel things the way I felt them so intensely. He's close. I kept feeling he's close. I was like, well, who is he? Is it so-and-so? Nah, because this fool always acting up. Can't commit to nothing. Is it this person? Is it that? Like, I just kept feeling 2018. He's close. He's close. I was like, I think, God is catfishing me with this whole thing. I felt like this ain't my life. I just felt frustrated. I felt like nothing was working out. I got tired of dating. I got tired of, I was tired of my career at that point. I was in corporate America and I'm a black woman. You do the math, okay? And then single parent on top. I was just frustrated in every area of my life. I cried out, said, this ain't my life. And God began to speak to me and told me to do 4 things. I started making the videos and coaching the women. The other 2 things ain't none of y'all business until I do them. Ain't none of y'all business until I do them. And so I started coaching women at my kitchen table, y'all. Go talk to this person. I started listening at a different level. Now, mind you, 10 years before, in my 20s, I was having dreams. Tons of dreams that were showing me my life. If you get married, this is going to be your life. And it played out to a T. And I had to get the hell up out of it. And the day I asked to get out of it, God said, I ain't never tell you to get in it. I thought you can't get a divorce because, I'm a Christian. I can't get no divorce. I didn't tell you to get married. It's like, you show you right. You show right. And then like that, I was out and money started flowing back in. Me and the kids was good. I still had my house, still had my career, still had my car, still had everything on and popping. traveling, doing everything, right? Things I didn't do before. And so it's like, you know where your energy is supposed to flow. So in 2018, I really felt like stagnant energy in my life across the board. Like, something ain't right. God will frustrate you, or your higher self will call you into alignment. Like, hey, flesh, I run the show here. This is your higher self speaking. Come over here and do what I told you to do. This is not the way we're going. You're going the wrong way. I'm going to dry up everything until you pay attention and go within and pray and seek wisdom from within. There's nobody who can tell you about your journey. There's some of us who can see, but you're going to have to feel it. You're going to have to feel it, and we can confirm it for you. We can confirm what you felt. I know you probably should be saying this. I can't tell you about nothing that ain't already in your spirit. As a reader, as a seer, as a knower, as a healer, I cannot come to somebody and tell them something that ain't already in their spirit. Know thyself, and to thyself be true. Confirmation. So basically, y'all, this was just really get out here and just say it. Just say it, because these messages started coming to me earlier. And but basically, you get dried up in every area and frustrate you. And fast forward, I'm in Texas. I'm like sitting in the churches and stuff, and it's like, this stuff ain't resonating with me. Like, why this? Why that? This don't make sense. He don't sound like God, and he don't feel like love. Very heavy and angry. I say, this ain't God and this ain't love, because I know how I am to people. And so it just, more and more, I started sitting there and realized that I'm not accepted here. It's like he's describing me from the stage, and I'm realizing I'm not accepted. I'm not welcome here. Who I am, how I feel, what I believe, I'm not welcome here. Thank you so much. And I just started sitting in church feeling like he is basically running down a list of, this is who you are and this is what is bad. And I just, more and more I sat in church, the more and more I felt like I'm not welcome here. If he was to know who I am, or what I think, or how I feel, or what I do, he would say no. You need to you need to change and be like this. And whenever I tried so hard, trust me, I tried so hard to follow. I was convicted for years. I was so miserable. People hated being around me at one point because I was miserable. I was not accepting myself in terms of, like, I'm a spiritual person that just wants to break free. I'm a fairy. That's why I put the little fairy on there. Like, I felt like a free spirit that was being caged up and criticized. I couldn't deny that. But I felt like, am I betraying Jesus? I kept like, am I betraying Jesus? If I leave the church, am I going to go to hell? Am I going to go to hell? I was so nervous. I was afraid to tell a lie. Now, and then, okay, once I got over there, I started lying. I was lying a lot, especially to these men. But nah, let's see, I was dating. It wasn't his business where I was at. I was never in a committed relationship, so simmer down. But to be real with y'all, for real, like, lie. I'm late for work for this reason. Just lie. And so once I no longer held myself to that conviction that you cannot tell a lie, I started lying. I was like, I've never lied like this in my life. And people don't believe that. But when I was young, I was I would not lie. I went through a little spell in middle school where I lied a lot. But I was like, I was afraid to tell a lie, y'all, most of my life. And so, and then I got back into, I know who I am and I'm comfortable in my skin. There's no one I need to lie to. There's no one I need to lie to. And I don't lie now. Either I'm going to tell you or I'm not going to tell you. But we not going to lie. There's nobody I'm afraid of on this planet. There's nothing I'm afraid of on earth. There's no reason for me to lie. So I'm not going to tell you a lie. I'm not going to tell you a lie. I'll tell you the truth, or I'm not going to talk to you about it. I do not lie. If somebody like, yes, you do, I'm going to tell you the truth, or we're not going to talk about it. I have enough power and enough respect for my power to understand that I don't who is there for me to lie or placate to. I don't need to lie to you, sugar. You're not that special. I hate to tell you, you compared to me, you're not. I don't need to lie to you. I don't need to lie to anybody. My yes is my yes, my no is my no, and I'm not talking about it. Is that period? Period is none of your business. I'm grown enough to say that now, y'all, and people need to get to that truth. This is my truth. I don't need to lie to you. I'm gonna be straight up with you, and because I'm not leading from a deceptive place, right? I'm not leading from a deceptive place. Anything I went into to do, I did it in love. I did it for whatever reason. And either I said it or I didn't. If I said, this is why I said it. Yes, I absolutely said it. It might hurt your feelings. Don't ask me. I'm a Scorpio. I might hurt your feelings with the truth. Because we just, it's not in me. I don't care. Right? So keep that in mind when y'all out here in the world navigating. You gonna get what you gonna get from me. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not gonna be so transparent to where it's just okay. That was mean. I'm not gonna do that. But I don't have a reason to lie to nobody. And the things I don't want to tell you is my business, and I'm gonna let you know that's my business. Or I'll let you know when I'm ready to tell you. That is not up for discussion today. Right? And there's some things that you need to protect, but it don't mean you have to lie about them. So tie all of this back into my newfound peace and freedom when I just decided one day, am I gonna go to hell if I stop going to church? And then I started seeing videos and I started getting information and I started seeing signs. I started doing my research, y'all. I started doing my research. I started doing my homework. Who is Jesus? Where did Jesus come from? I questioned everything. And I think, being raised a certain way in the church, also through slavery as well, passed down onto us, we're beat into submission, and you're low-key beat into submission when it comes to being a Christian as a black person in America from the South, right? You just beat into submission. You don't question it. They beat us into it, and we beat our kids into it. I used to make my kids go to church. You better go to church. You better get up. And you better. And my son was like, I don't want to go. I ain't going. He stood his ground. I have big respect to him for that. He stood his ground. I respect my kids for standing on business. I really do. It's like, I like that about you. That's me. That's them acting like me. They see me stand my ground on some things, and I respect when my kids stand their grounds on some things. So my oldest son's like, he ain't going. My youngest son, they had PlayStation up there, he was going. Yeah, I'm going for the games and the snacks. But I will say that. So it just, once the conviction left and the education and the knowledge came in, I felt free. So it's a matter of something didn't sit right in my spirit. And then I started to be convicted for being who I am. And I was like, I don't belong here. And then I got deeper into my spiritual journey, and then information started coming in. The information didn't come in until later, like, who is Jesus Christ? So we start with first his real name, Yeshua, the prophet Yeshua. And or Yeshua, however you want to pronounce it. I ain't Hebrew. I mean, I don't speak Hebrew. Not this lifetime. Anywho, once you know the name, and this video is getting, I'm about to wrap this up. But once you know the name, you know the mission, you know the books that were removed from the Bible, you understand the Christian Crusades, you understand the slave Bible, you understand the history of North America, ancient Kemet, things like that, and how they try to point us back to a place we didn't come from, like we were actually here already. And it's all tied to this big, deep rabbit hole. And it's like, hi, Angel. So whatever you feel in your heart, just start learning about it. Ask for more information and more knowledge, and it will come to you, and you can free yourself. But yeah, so I do have a mutual respect for people. A lot of the videos that I watch for inspiration and whatnot on YouTube are Christian people. But a prophet is a prophet, whether you're in the church or not, because I am one and I was in the church at one point. But now I understand that I'm a sovereign being. I came here to be under one covenant, and that was the covenant with my spouse, the one that's already been ordained before I even came to this planet. So you might hear me use words from my upbringing. Yes, I was raised in the church, but definitely a sovereign being having a human experience, and no one has the right to condemn me to a heaven or a hell as they so please. I'm not an assignment to be graded to determine whether or not I'm worthy of going to heaven, and I'm not under anyone's jurisdiction, so they cannot punish me to a hell. I'll decide for myself, and I know that. But you can give your power away to people. You can enter into a covenant with somebody and say, I'll follow your rules. So while you claim that you're a Christian, you better follow all of their rules. You better do it. You better do it. Once you come into agreement, once you come into a land, or once you come into a covenant with somebody, you better follow their rules. You're at somebody's house, you follow their rules. You're in somebody's a contract with somebody, you follow the rules of the contract. You are held accountable. Okay? So keep in mind and look up the 42 laws of my look at them very closely and understand that once you agree to something, you better follow the rules. But once you break that covenant, break that contract, and understand what real covenants are and what contract versus what contracts are limited. Contracts may even be optional. You don't have to enter into agreement with everything, everyone, or what not, what have you. Covenant, that's spiritual. That's your soul binding to something for a time, coming under that law. And so you be careful with it, because the way I see it, the way it's being shown to me, I'm only coming into covenant with my spouse. Anything else on this planet ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm only coming into covenant and becoming one with my spouse. Period. The kingdom spouse, the twin flame, my soulmate, my divine, the only one. Nothing else on this planet is for me to come into covenant with. I'm not doing it. You have a choice. So you can come under, and you got to make sure that you two are on. You got to be equally yoked when you decide to come into covenant. You can't say I believe this and you believe that. By the time y'all ready to come into covenant, it's because y'all are one in your beliefs and values. So don't get married under this. You believe this? No. Wait until it's in alignment. Anything out of alignment, y'all going two separate. Y'all living two separate lives and lying to yourself. Now, there could be a period where you grow together and get to know the person that's destined to be your spouse, but they're not going to be your spouse until you both are walking that path together. If they wake up and do this and run off to so-and-so and get advice from them, they will never trust you. When you are of two different religious beliefs, you don't trust each other. I'm going to keep it a book. Y'all ain't going to never trust each other. It's going to be always they working against what I'm being taught. They working against my beliefs. Can I trust this person? But once you leave Christianity, I won't speak on any other religion because I ain't been in it. Once you leave Christianity and you free yourself from that contract, that covenant, it's really a false covenant because you're not giving the whole truth. You got to be full disclosure when you're in something, right? There's no full disclosure there. There's no full disclosure. And you're born into it sometimes and told to accept it as a child. You have to be an adult who studies something and can tell somebody, and most people can't. It was just, we passed this down. We pass down diabetes, high blood pressure, um, violence. We pass down habits. We pass down lifestyles. It's the way the family is. It's the way you got to be. We pass things down. So at some point, you got to wake up and say, what do I choose for myself? How do I feel about this? Is this really the way I want to go? Does this resonate with who I am today and how I want to live my life? And so for me, it was just simply that. And you got to be okay with being cut off from people and being cut off. Because people are going to attack you on the internet. Christians are going to come and attack you on the internet. I saw where one lady was attacking another lady. A Christian lady was attacking a spiritual lady. And they did a live together, and it was just full of craziness. But the Christian lady kept attacking the spiritual lady, calling her a witch, calling her a witch. And then she went on there on her page and did cast a spell against her. The Christian lady cast a spell publicly, saying she wanted bad things to happen to her, to come against her. She didn't pray for protection over herself against this darkness that she saw as darkness. She wished harm on her publicly and don't even realize that is witchcraft. That is dark magic, and that's casting on other people. And you're not supposed to do that in the spiritual realm, in the Christian realm, in Islam, and in none of them. You don't wish harm on others. And so for somebody to blindly, and that's just one person, that doesn't represent the entire faction, but we get a lot of that. Can't say it ain't common. It's very common that people will, you can bind and rebuke any darkness, any harm coming to you. But once you start sending things to people, now that's you the problem. And we're going to be real over here. So for all the spiritual things, knowing that earth is heart, it's about love here. Put that H in front. It's going to be all about love over here on this channel. So if y'all come over here, I will tell y'all the real truth about my spiritual journey, about my dark night of the soul, my trials of Job, all the things I go through, twin flame journeys, when it unfolds, right? And so I'm going to be honest with y'all when y'all come over here. If you need a spiritual mentor, a spiritual coach, I'm here for it, right? Because if you watch the videos, then you resonate with me. However, I don't debate. I don't argue. I'm in my soft era, right? I'm in my soft era. So you don't have to agree with me, but you also don't have to be over here. You got a choice. Confirmation. Once you see something that don't resonate with your spirit on my channel, don't come back over here. Otherwise, there's something in you that's curious. There's something in you that's curious, and sometimes you have too much ego, or you're too afraid to just reach out and have a conversation. Why do you think this, Shawnee? Or ask a question on a post. You know, ask me a question. I'll make a video about it. Nobody has to know it's you, but I'll make it general information. It's going to benefit my channel, my page, whatever. Private time with me costs money. Private time with me costs money. You're not my immediate family. It does. And so I am a coach. I do this full time. I do consult. Even in business. Because I can use my spiritual gifts to help you with business matters. Right? Much more better than somebody who studies economics. Anywho, I love y'all. No matter what you believe, I love you. And I'm here to be love and light on earth. I'm here to spread love. I'm here to teach. I'm here to help you walk in your spiritual purpose. Align with your higher self and lock into that. Align with your higher self and lock into that. Quit running at everybody. It's in you. Your mission is encoded in you. You got to go within and get it. Can't nobody. If somebody talk about Jesus and your mission more than they mention you and your mission, the mission ain't about you no more. Jesus, the one y'all call Jesus, Yeshua, has already lived and carried out his mission. But the Christ that they speak of, the real deal in that story, is they're talking about you, babe. We had to give it a person. You had to give the person a name and do this and say he wasn't the only one at that time. When God puts pieces of herself on this planet, it's in a lot of us coming to help each other ascend. So be aware that that was an example for your level of consciousness, your connection to that, your direct connection to the spiritual realm. You don't have to pray in anybody's name. You're it. You don't have to pray in anybody's name. You're it. That's what your awakening is about. Waking up to the fact that you're it. I'm looking outside of myself and I'm it. I'm here. I'm it. That's all it's about. When you wake up to yourself, wake up to your truth, walk in your get aligned and walk in your purpose, things will start to come to you. First up here, then it'll materialize physically. And so, like I said in the beginning of this video, you ain't got to agree with me, but don't come for me unless I send for you, because even if you don't agree with me, doesn't mean I'm not who I am, spiritually speaking. Hear my voice very clearly. Don't mean I ain't who I am. I come in peace, but my love runs deep. So does my wrath. Don't ever test it. It's a warning in that for you, because I don't like to be that. Be very, very careful when you believe somebody's a spiritual person, or y'all probably call us witches. I've been called dark witches by people who call themselves wanting to date me. And then call back and ask, what does this dream mean? Oh, you calling up a dark witch today, huh? What the hell? Mr. Super Christian, God, what is this dream? Go ask your pastor. I'm going to tell y'all, all this spiritual stuff, if you really indoctrinate, I challenge you to do this. Go ask your pastor all these questions you got. Go ask them. And not for the answer, but for the feeling. How do you feel when you walk away from that conversation? No matter what God said, did you feel seen? Did you feel heard? Or did you feel bombarded with scripture and condemnation? Let's be honest. I done had plenty of conversations with pastors. I stayed in church most of my life. I told y'all. Go have these conversations that y'all finding me for, popping up on my page, in my comments, in my DMs, in my email, on the street. Coach Shawnee. Go ask your pastor. Because when you start to have your real spiritual awakening, you're going to come find somebody like me. You're going to come find somebody like me. You're going to remember what I said, and you're going to know how you feel, and that's going to be in alignment. But I'm here for you. And I'll tell you, I have a past. What they say in church, I was out here in the world. I wasn't out there like that. They were never, but some people are. And I have a lot of life experience being around people. I have a huge family. So if I ain't been through it, I know somebody very close to me that has, right? And so I don't judge people. I don't judge you. I'm just here to love on people and help you get on track with your journey. That's all I want for y'all. And that's all I ever wanted for myself. So that's why I cried out. That's why things started changing. And that's why it didn't resonate for me to go sit and be condemned every week for just wanting to feel free. Like, I don't feel that way. I wear my little rocks. I wear the diamonds. I wear the rubies. And I wear these too, right? So this is my TED Talk. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. We have fun over here. We enjoy life over here. Y'all ain't gonna never hear me. And God, you ain't gonna never hear me as no woman hemming and hawing and going in and you need to that's not what you finna get from Shawnee, because that's not who Shawnee is. And that's not love and light. Ain't nothing heavy over her. Except for this. Okay? This Chevy. But I'm just saying, y'all, It was meant to be good here for us. It was meant to be love and light. It was meant to be happy. You shouldn't be walking around wondering if you're going to hell. Ain't no damn hell. And please stop telling your children, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. You ain't got to pray for no Lord. A Lord is over a land. Don't tell your kids, research everything. Ask Chat GPT what it mean. Y'all be on there for everything else. You don't realize and stop drink. And if you really on your, stop drinking that blood and eating that flesh the first of the month. You ain't no vampire, are you? Are you? Ask why. Start asking why. You probably get kicked out of church. I like going live on TikTok because all my spiritual friends come on there and always tell me how they got kicked out of different churches. I just left before you put me out. I just went ahead on, go ahead and leave. Let me head out. Let me head out. I've gotten up, walked out of churches. I've done it. I try to go for people, go with people because I said no, we not finna do this no more. We not doing this no more. We done woke up. Now we gonna act like we sleep. But I truly do love y'all. And if any of this resonated with you, leave a comment. Yeah, I did this live, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna love on others. Confirmation. I'm gonna enjoy this life. I don't care what it looked like to somebody else, as long as it feels good to me. I pray that you can find enough peace and freedom within yourself to do the same thing. Coaching and consulting, click the link in my bio. Y'all be great.